Today is April 14th. The Bucs lose a series to the defending world champs. Game 2 was a rose between two thorns, the Bae walk-off. Let's break down the series. You're listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Yins, guys. Thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh, and I am joined again by my brother Jake. What's up, Jake?
Hey, man. How we doing?
Doing all right.
Yeah.
Weather's warming up.
Yep.
Loving it. Yup. Yup. It's been 80 for 3 weeks down here.
It's actually supposed to be warmer in Ohio than it is down here this week.
Okay, there you go. Well, I am excited. I've been out a couple times this week, and feels good out there. Went to get some ice cream tonight. The whole 9 yards, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's awesome. I can't wait, just because I know it's getting cold again. Not like cold, right? But it's, I don't know. It's all right. It's
not
right.
Summer yet.
No. But you know what? The Bucs have been exciting so far.
Yeah, they have.
So it is for us. It is Thursday night. The Cardinals game did just end, the first Cardinals game. We get the dub there. We're not really covering that game, so we're not going to try to go deep into that. We'll talk about that on Sunday. But it certainly helps coming out of the Houston series, knowing that they went and got a dub, coming out of that first game against the Cardinals.
That's just what's been so much fun to watch this season, just in the short sample size we've had. Because even within the game, until they get like 5 or 6 runs ahead, like the team we're playing, I don't feel out of it
right
this year. Like we're a much more resilient team. We're going to go fight you until the end.
Right. Well, I mean, like we said about opening day, last year we would have lost that game 8-3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And instead we just did it differently,
Yeah.
So you didn't get an opportunity to talk about the home opener and your experience. I did kind of share some of your experience where you had a hard time seeing and stuff like that. But, I guess just kind of sharing that. Actually, Gary and I got to talking last week on Monday's show. We just got to chatting, and we barely even talked about Kutch and the home opener and, the sentimental feeling of it and everything. We didn't even get to sit in that.
Yeah.
Because Cruz was hurt, and we really, just spent a lot of time on that. But anyway, that's fine. It's all gone, but it's kind of interesting. You know what I mean? But you got to come down and sit with us and see the part of the game that you got to see. But
right.
As far as that, I mean, you had quite the trip.
Dude, it was so much fun, but it was exhausting.
How many days did it take you to kind of recover from everything? Or are you still recovering?
For me, it wasn't too bad. I was good by the next day. By the next day, I mean would have been Sunday. I was good by Sunday.
Okay, and then you still had
Saturday. Saturday was a little rough. I was a little groggy most of the day, but by Sunday I was all right.
But you still had you didn't drive back down until Tuesday.
Correct.
Yeah. So then you have that, if you add all that in and all the running and everything, but
yeah. We actually made it. We made it down in 2 stops this time. So 15 hours. We only stopped for gas.
That's ridiculous. Probably an overachiever in that regard. Dude, but I mean, that's you, though. I know that's you because we've been down this road before. In a former life, when you and I were playing in a band, we drove from Nashville to
Bryan,
Texas, like not quite to Houston, 15 hours, and we did it overnight. And that was that couple days was kind of fun because we were there and then we drove up to Dallas, and then we got to Dallas and we were like, I don't remember getting here.
We pulled in that parking lot and you woke up and you said, "Are we here?" I said, "I guess so." I said, "I don't remember how, but we're here."
But when we left Nashville, you were like, I want to do this whole thing.
Yeah.
Did you?
No,
you didn't.
You drove like 3 hours.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that. Let's talk about the Astros series. First things first, the Astros came into Pittsburgh 4-6. They hadn't won a series yet. They split with the White Sox. They lost the series to the Tigers. The only 2 wins by the Tigers so far this year was against Houston. And then they lost the series to the Twins, which when I said that initially, like when we were talking about it, I was like, but that's not like terrible. Like some people are high on the Twins, so let's not. But the Tigers, that's not the case. They're not high on the Tigers, and the Tigers have been bad. You only have 2 wins, and they're both against Houston. So Houston came in. They had to be ready to not. And I think because the Pirates were doing well, they didn't take them lightly.
Right. Yeah.
So you get, all 3 games. I mean, aside from the middle one, but the Astros scored 8 on Monday. They scored 7 on Wednesday. They were a little relentless, specifically Monday. They were not going to let Roansy get away with anything. He was not sharp. And, it comes down to control for him. It comes down to command. It wasn't there.
Yeah, when your command's not there, usually if your command's off on your off speed, sometimes your fastball command is there in a way. Your fastball command, I mean, you're in the big leagues. You're going to be able to throw a fastball down the middle when you want. And you get behind a guy 2-0. I mean, you saw it in the Bregman at bat on Wednesday. You get behind him 2-0, throw a fastball down the middle, he's gonna hit it.
Yeah.
And he hit then he hit the home run to separate the score late in the game. And that's what it comes down to with Ron. You get behind in the count, and these good hitters are going to take advantage.
Yeah. And it was putting guys on base, 4 walks to 3 strikeouts, putting guys on base, and it was just missing over the middle. 9 hits, 7 runs, doesn't even get out of the 4th inning. And, that's what a rough outing looks like.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Roansy, I feel like, has had a couple of those. And he's learning. He's learning from these bad outings. I'm telling you that right now. Like
but not this year. Like he's only started to 2 games.
I thought he had 3.
No, he started the one in Boston that was really good, and then he started that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's had them before, right?
Yeah.
And well, I guess specifically command is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
When he doesn't have it, this is going to be what happens, especially when you do something like that against Houston. So, I think that's a story there. Choi with his first homer. Castro had a first rough couple days. Made back-to-back errors on back-to-back days, but he also gets hit by a pitch in back-to-back days. And really, other than that, like, he did pretty well. And so that was kind of like the first little, okay, all right. You're kind of up against it right now. I mean, we're going to see Castro. We're going to see Bae playing short, and it's going to be those 2 guys. And until something changes with this roster, maybe if at some point Marcano comes up, it's going to be those 2 guys at short. And they're going to have to get there. We've talked about this. Remember last year when Castro came up and he was playing shortstop every day and he wasn't doing well, and then we sent him back down. when he comes back up, he doesn't play short again, and it seemed everything was just fine and it was clicking for him.
Yeah.
Not saying don't play him at short. Right now, this is what you have. But I bring that up because we looked back at how often he's played short. It really hasn't been that often. He's mostly a third baseman as far as his career. He's played a lot of second base and some short. And he has the ability to do it. Tuesday, as we shuffle into that game, he had a couple really good plays. Probably 2 or 3 specifically good plays. And he just makes the big error in the 9th that starts the rally. Bednar didn't really help himself. This was kind of like a kink for Bednar. The first one, he left a fastball out over the middle to Hensley. McCormick, the curveball that he threw to him for the double that scores the first run was, or maybe did it score both? Maybe scored both. I don't remember. Anyway, it was a strike the whole time. The curveball started at the top of the zone. It never made it below the zone. Houston's going to hit the ball. Like this, a team like this, they're going to hit those kind of pitches. They're going to it's a ground ball. It just got past them. You know what I mean? And it ends up in the corner for a double and the whole deal. I tell you what, he gets Bregman to ground out on a not very good pitch either. To be honest with you, it was up in the zone fastball. But Bednar can do that, right? When he's throwing 97, he can do it. He puts a little hair on it or whatever you want to say. And then he absolutely destroyed Abreu to get out of that inning. Like it was, I mean, he destroyed him. 3 pitches and he used the fastball, the curveball, and the splitter. And Abreu was like, "What just happened?" And that's what we have seen from Bednar so far. But just to combine the Castro error along with, Bednar, it's not something you're worried about from Bednar. Like, so what? He left a fastball over the middle. Like, that's going to happen every once in a while. Sometimes he gets away with it. So it's just it's not something I'm worried about, but it's like, oh, that happened. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think the same thing about the error. Like, it happened. And really, we talk about, I talked about this on Twitter. Ask Santana if he should have caught that. He's going to tell you 10 times out of 10, I need to catch that ball. And that's what you do. And you saw on the play, it got in his fingers. If he gets a better grip on that, the guy's safe. Like if he puts it back in the glove to grip it, he's safe at first. And it's an error anyway. So what do? You get as much grip as you can, you throw it low. And if you get the error, you get the error. You're going to get it anyway if you double pump.
You give your first baseman a chance.
Give your first baseman a chance to bail you out. And on that play, and it's nothing against Santana, like he just didn't get it that time. The error is still Castro's.
Right.
But you gave it your best shot. Santana missed it. He's going to kick himself. Castro's going to kick himself. And then Bednar's going to kick himself for missing for putting him in scoring position because he threw a fastball right down the middle to Hensley. So like it, you know what I mean? And that's just what happens in Major League Baseball. But Castro started the rally off, fought off a tough pitch. I mean, it's like a blooper, right? It could have been out on it for sure. But he fought off a tough pitch, started the rally. Kutch gets a base hit. Pretty exciting. The pinch hit for Kutch, for everybody there, you know what I mean? And then Hwan Bae actually had a pretty good at bat the whole way through.
Yeah.
And then that's a changeup, low and in, and he got out in front of it. He knew it.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, the thing is like the game was over regardless of whether that ball goes out or not. If it hits off the wall, Castro's scoring anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the game's over regardless of whether it goes over the fence or not. But, dude, we talked about this a little bit before. Bae is not like a small dude.
No.
He's thin, but he's like 6'1". And we know from looking at his minor league numbers, like he's got some pop.
Mm-hmm.
that was not a cheap home run. Like, he hit it. That's
Yeah.
like
there
all the
was
way on the left of that Clemente wall. That is a shot.
Yeah, the what's that thing that shows the home runs and all the other? It was a home run in 30 out of 30.
Yeah.
Like it was a no doubt.
I mean,
They asked Brian Reynolds, did you know it? Well, yeah, I knew it was off the bat. It was gone.
yeah.
He crushed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that just a great moment right there. And I got to tell you, man, Bae just keeps having these moments. It's really hard to ignore, and it's hard to, like, these are the things that you remember. And when we've been talking the whole year about Bae versus Castro, and Bae is stealing the spotlight. He's making plays.
Yeah.
And regardless, like, I know that I've said even the two he made today, I know we're not talking about today's game, but the two he made today, like, bad routes to the ball. Mm-hmm. He starts in, he goes back, and then he comes up and dives. But I don't care. He still made the diving catch. It's still a great play. And so there's parts of that where you're just like, yeah, but he gets away with it because he's so fast and he's athletic. He can make those types of plays.
Yeah.
It's really impressive. Meanwhile, Castro's turned everything around.
Yeah.
I mean, average is what it is, right? This is early in the season. You can say 292. You can talk about whether average is even important or not, whatever. But he's in 292, and he's on base at a 433 clip right now. Is he still struggling? Are we still worried about him right now?
I mean, I would say he's definitely turning it on.
Yeah.
I don't. He's definitely not struggling right now. I mean, he's doing what he needs to do. He's getting on base. He's definitely adding to the offense right now.
Yeah, I mean, compare that to the excitement of Bae. He's hitting 231. He's on base at 286. 436 slugging, and Castro's at a 458. So, I mean, I'm still kind of in between, though, because, like, Castro hasn't done he hit the home run today. He hasn't done all the big things yet, hasn't had the big moment, and Bae's had like 4 of them.
Yeah, and Castro's, he's been in the spot a couple times, and then, you know, I don't want to say not come through because he got the base hit, you know, after he made the error.
Yeah, and
he got the base hit there, but he hasn't had like a dramatic moment.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you talk about Houston, and you're looking at him. He was 1 for 1 with the hit by pitch and the walk in the one game, and then he was 2 for 3 in the game that we won with a couple runs. Also hit by a pitch in that game, and then Wednesday in the loss he didn't play, so never mind. But before we get into Wednesday, let's go back to Tuesday and talk about the Bae walk-off's our favorite thing, but let's talk about the other things. Choi also homers in this game, back-to-back days that Choi homers. First time 2 Korean-born players in Major League Baseball have hit home run in the same game. That's pretty crazy. We'll take that one. Yep, let's give it to him. Ready? Here we go. So that's pretty cool. Also, Sawinski out ahead. We talked about maybe he's watching too much and he's not attacking the ball. Attacked the ball, hit it out of, like, over the Clemente seats. Him and Choi both cleared the Clemente seats.
Yeah.
I think they said Sawinski's hit one of the bobbleheads in the head. How amazing is that?
I don't. They were showing the replay. It looked like it hit the back wall. Right.
Maybe it bounced back and hit the bobblehead.
Maybe because it was over by like the bridge.
Okay. Well, there's the bobblehead on each side of the bridge, and then another. Yeah. So I thought somebody tweeted that was out there that it hit one of them, but maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe on the bounce.
Yeah, maybe on the
bounce.
Very possible. Pretty cool though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get a bobblehead. But also the biggest thing about the game, those things are all good. The biggest thing about the game is Mitch Keller, a team that scored 8 and 7 runs on either side of the game. And, you know, going into this series, I thought to myself, we've got Roanzi that could be good. We've got Keller that you hope is going to be important. But after Monday's loss, I thought, we're going into tomorrow. if you're going to win a game, if you're not going to get swept, the best way it can happen as a Pirates fan is if Keller's the guy who says no.
Yeah.
We talked last time about how the ace type thing started to happen, and he answered the call.
Yeah.
And he goes out there. Now, I mean, he goes 6 innings, gives up the 2, 7 strikeouts, and they were just 2 solo shots. And that's a big time thing because, like I said, this team scored on either side of the game 8 and 7 runs, and they were hitting.
Yeah.
For him to step up and shut them down, I think is a big. I think that's another big step, and we're going to continue to see these from Keller.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think he's definitely on this trend right now, and I'm digging it, man. I'm on board. I like it.
There are things
he's going at these hitters now. It's like he's not scared of you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a big thing right now. That's one of the things that we wanted to see develop over this year. We talked, before the season about it's not as much, again, about wins and losses, even though they're making it look like it is. It's not as much there as much as it is like what kind of things do you want to see? Unfortunately, one of those was breakout season by O'Neal Cruz. We're not going to get that now. So that's unfortunate. Right. You know what I mean? We're going to miss 4 months of that. But when you go through there, it is how do these other players develop, or what do they become? We don't know. Like, can Rodolfo Castro become a guy who you can actually say, like, yeah, I think we can get 20 to 25 from him year in and year out? Can Bae be this spark plug at the top of the order? Still to be a question, you know what I mean? Like, I think he's going to get the lion's share of the opportunities at the leadoff spot. But he has got to start taking pitches and getting walked. You're really fast, and he's a great base stealer, but you got to be on base.
Yeah.
I think he's the perfect candidate for a 9-hitter, man. It's just that one less at bat. You take a little bit of the pressure off, but he still, when he gets on base, the top of the order gets him moving, man. He'd be really good in that role. There's just so much more in the tank for both of those guys. And this is kind of that silver lining in the Cruz injuries. We're going to get to see them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sawinski's another one, 19 home runs. These guys are all young, but like, are we going to see Sawinski take that next step? And even if he still hits 19 home runs, but he just fixes maybe the swing and miss a little bit. Or maybe he doesn't fix the swing and miss and hits 25 to 30, not this year, but becomes that type of player, because there's a place for those kind of guys in this league too.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it's not somebody that you depend on. Hopefully it's like a, 6 or 7 hitter.
Right.
That you can say like, yeah, but he's going to make a difference eventually. But Mitch Keller's the big thing. I think that's one of those things that we want to see, and that's, what we're talking about right now. But one of those developments that we want to see this year is what we're already seeing through 3 starts.
Yeah.
We're already seeing it. Maybe this is like the Pirates. Maybe we're going to get all of our stuff at the beginning of the year. It's all going to be like, we're seeing all this cool stuff, and then we're going to have rough patches. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting... Yeah. I am going to enjoy this right now because they're playing good. This is like legitimate. They're playing legitimate good baseball. And there's places that they can get better. You know what I'm saying? Like we were looking at these stats and everything. I mean, Kanan Smith and Jigba came up and we were really excited about it. And people were like, why isn't he playing? Well, because he struck out 11 times in 18 at bats. Right? And this is a guy who gets walked. He's walked twice. He's struck out 11 times. He'll get his time when he gets hot too. You're worried about a guy like Sawinski and like, where's his numbers? Where are we at here? Where's Sawinski? I don't even see him on my list of guys. I got all players here. I've got no clue. There he is. He struck out 9 times in 23 at bats, and you've got Smith and Jigba 11 times in 18 at bats. Played the same amount of games, but we're not talking about that. Smith and Jigba has 2 hits to Sawinski's 1. I mean, neither one of those are good, right?
Right.
But when everybody's saying, but he strikes out every time he's up, and I'm like, G-Man Choi struck out 15 times, and he has yet to walk. And we've talked about G-Man Choi being an on-base guy.
Yeah.
Now he's starting to turn a corner.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
It is funny, though, how it just seems like things stick out more than others. And it's like we see Sawinski striking out, and we're like, he strikes out every time. And it's like, and you're showing the numbers right now, and it's like,
yeah,
not really. I mean, yes, he's striking out a lot, but there's other guys that are striking out more. And we're not, I mean, some people are talking about Choi, but.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Choi's definitely.
Yeah.
He's been a target, but yeah, I mean, it's, we see these things and we remember the things like, Smith and Jigba had the really good game. That's the only game that he's had. And you could chalk that up to not enough at bats. 100% you could. You could chalk that up to not playing consistently. 100% you could. You could do the same for Sawinski. You could do the same for, really not so much Castro now, but early on he was playing sporadically because he was sharing time, right? And that makes sense. They're going to have to figure this out. They're going to have to do it. The idea is, Gary and I talked last week, and I said, when do you look at this team and say, what is this team? Like, what are we looking at here? And I mentioned, for me, it's 40 games. Gary kind of took the approach where he wasn't going to put a team number of games. He was going to say, give me 100 at bats. And then I know what you look like, right? And I was kind of big picture, team 40 games, because that shows me how often they're going to be used. That shows me, you know what I mean, what type of like usage they're getting and stuff like that. But anyway, let's just give it some time. Like Smith and Jigba's still going to get his time. I think he's still a really good hitter. It's just not worked out for him right now, but it will. When he clicks, somebody else won't, and he'll get more playing time.
Yeah.
And, if they're going to continue to play competitive baseball, those are the kind of things that need to happen. If everybody goes ice cold at the same time, it's going to get ugly.
Yeah.
So much like Wednesday's game was ugly, 8-0, not much to 7-0. Not much really to say other than like 3 hits. You had 1 from Reynolds, 1 from Santana, 1 from Sawinski, right? Finally. Oh, wait. How does Sawinski have 1 hit? He had a home run. He has 1 run. He has 3 hits. Okay, so Kanan Smith and Jigba has 3 hits, and Sawinski has 3 hits. Let me correct myself there. I was looking at the run column, not the hit column. Runs, not hits. Sawinski has 3. I was like, he has 1 hit, and it was a home run? No, he has 3 hits. Hope nobody turned it off after I said that and didn't hear that, because both of them have 3 hits. Anyway, so when those were the 3 hits, and the big thing for me in this game, just a double from Santana, the big thing for me in this game was we finally got a bounce back start from Rich Hill. And he did it against a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
They scored. I think he got out of. Go ahead.
He did not have a strikeout in this game, though, did he?
He did not have a strikeout. No,
I don't think so. He just pitched.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was close a couple times, but man, they talk about how he's dependent on like swing and miss. And I'm like, he's not going to be able to do that right now. Like, he's not going to be able to strike a bunch of guys out.
Right.
But yeah, he did it with no strikeouts. It was good though. Like he had him off
Yeah.
balance. It
Yeah.
was good. At one point they were through 3 innings, and I remember saying, okay, they're through 3 innings. This is kind of a pitching duel. And nobody's hit the ball over 88.5 miles an hour in this game for either team.
Yeah.
And then, of course, in the 4th inning, they hit like 3 of them over 100 miles an hour. 2 of them were outs, but they got another run. But I thought Rich Hill did a really good job of bouncing back and getting us 6 innings, 2 runs. That's a game that we're still in.
Yeah.
That's the same thing we just talked about Keller, and we said it was a great outing. And then he turns right around and gives him the same outing. Other than 7 strikeouts versus 0. Keller was definitely in more control.
Keller went 7, didn't he?
No, 6 innings. Yeah, 6 innings, 2 walks. So everything was the same. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, except 7 strikeouts and 2 homers. And you only get 1 homer and 5 hits for Rich Hill, but same, 2 runs, 2 walks, but 0 strikeouts. It's kind of interesting. Definitely was the 7 strikeouts makes a big difference on how you're pitching and whatever, but Rich Hill's been beat up.
Yeah.
And so for him to have this bounce back start, that's good. Matter of fact, we've got some Twitter questions for you guys today, and I'm going to go ahead and jump to one of them because it's specifically about Rich Hill. From our friend Pittsburgh Pirate Queen, said Hill did really well today. Do you think the home opener was nerves and he's going to maintain, or do you think he's a bit unpredictable? I'll give you the first stab at that.
Again, well, my first thought is he's 43 years old. I don't think he was nervous for opening day, the home opener. I think he was fine. I just think this is what we have in Rich Hill, and I'm not even going to go as far as to say unpredictable, but he's going to have his rough outings and he's going to have his good outings. It is technically unpredictable, but he's pretty much going to be the same every time. It's just sometimes a team's going to hit him and sometimes they're not.
Yeah, I would think that this was a good start in a sense where I would say I don't think he's going to maintain 6 innings, 2 runs. I don't think he's going to maintain being that effective. I think he's still going to get blown up every once in a while. What I do think is he got blown up back-to-back starts to start the year, and that balloons on you a little bit where if you do pitch well for 3-4 starts and then have back-to-back starts that you get blown up, I think that's what he's going to maintain. You know what I mean? And maybe they're not back-to-back, but I'm kind of with you there. He's going to have rough outings. If that curveball stays up, he's going to get punished. It's too slow. Yeah. And I think that was the thing against the White Sox for sure. The pitches were high. They were hung. And his fastball is not going to blow anyone away. So if he's not placing that thing, it's gonna get hit.
Yeah.
But I also think that if it is working, he can get guys off balance and force light contact. For a guy who's 43, yeah, maybe it does get a little bit better. Maybe it's a slow, it takes a little bit longer to kind of get going. Get a feel for it. I saw a couple people mention that, it's been cold and maybe when it warms up, I could see that. You know what I mean? I could definitely see that. Warms up a little bit. Maybe you'll get some more starts. Yeah, I don't know. I think unpredictable actually is a good word. I see what you're saying when you say that, but I think each time he comes out, yes, I am going to be questioning what you're going to get from him. I think that over the course, it's predictable that he's going to get shelled a couple times.
Yeah.
But that day, yeah, I think it's pretty unpredictable. I think you're hoping that he keeps you in a game. If he can give me 6 innings and 4 runs, I'm still in that game, and I would say I'll take that. Once he gets north of 4 runs, that's when it's like, okay, well, what are we doing? You know? And so that's kind of the big thing for me. I think you can expect him just to keep you in games. That's the best you can expect for.
I will give since we're on the Rich Hill topic and opening day, just a little bit here. I will give a quick shout out to our brother JP. He says we're walking in the stadium. He says, "Hey, this is the last opening day I'll probably ever go to where the starting pitcher's older than me."
That's definitely, it better be true. It better be true. What was that? Oh, you unplugged your headset. You unplugged your headset. He's still fighting with his headset, guys. He got so excited that he unplugged his headset in the middle of the whole thing.
Yeah, sure did.
And the funny thing is you didn't say anything because you couldn't hear me, so you acted like your mic wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, you know how it goes.
That's good. So, bounce back start. Moretta had his first blemish in this game. He came in relief, gave up 3 runs, walked 2 guys. We all were waiting for this. He still had a great start to the year, and he pitched another inning today, gave up a double, and then just was fine.
Yeah.
I think that's all he did, right? Did he walk somebody too? No. Gave up the double, ends up with 2 more strikeouts. Yeah, including Jordan Walker, by the way. First game Jordan Walker's career. I say that we did it, but what a start to his career. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
for Jordan Walker.
Cool.
I'm really well. Nope, we're not talking about the Cardinals. DeYoung struggling to make the best of his outings. He's, it's been pretty clear that he's being used in hopes of going multiple innings. We said this might be the case. And he might still be able to turn it around. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
Offense shut down again. Good to see Bae walk a couple times. That's good. You know what? We are going to bring up one more thing about that game before we move on to the other questions and everything. The home run. Oh my gosh. Now I don't remember the guy's name. I got it coming up here. The Astros rookie hit a home run. Julks. What the heck was his first name? You remember? Corey Julks hit his first career home run. And Pirate fans, probably everybody listening to this remembers the guy who got the ball and threw it back onto the field with his Doc Ellis jersey. I went ahead and tweeted well, all right. Okay, so if you weren't watching the game, the guy's jersey was a Doc Ellis jersey, said Pittsburgh on it, I believe. And then on the back, instead of D Ellis, it said Ellis D. If you don't know the story, he pitched a no-hitter. No, it was a no-hitter, not a perfect game.
Yeah.
Pitched a no-hitter in the 70s in San Diego one time, and apparently high on LSD because he didn't know he was supposed to start that day. So, normally you would just do LSD in the morning before the game. And so he had to pitch whatever. So that's the story. So the fact that LSD is his name and it's LSD, really interesting jersey. But anyway, I tweeted that LSD was going to have to go home and not watch the rest of the game. I'm surprised at how many people don't know that it is not allowed to throw things onto the field.
Yeah.
And, and most people would say well, sure, if you're throwing a beer. No. Literally anything. Wrigley Field is the only place that you're allowed to throw home runs back onto the field. And because of that, if I'm an outfielder, I'm waiting for you to do it. But if this guy just slips even a little, he could crack Brian Reynolds in the back of the head with that. He didn't.
Yeah.
We're all good. And when I tweeted that, I had a couple conversations with some guys and just saying I hope he doesn't get kicked out. It was my thought. but like we've seen people get thrown out for doing that.
Yeah.
You're just not allowed to do it. However, LSD is Twitter name at it's gigs110. If you want to follow him, he was pretty excited. Must have been looking up stuff about the conversations going on about the jersey. And he actually responded to my tweet about him leaving the game and was like, nope, I got to stay the whole game. One of the workers there even told me nice throw. So I don't know what's going on. I love it though. It's great that he came across my tweet. We tweeted back and forth. I told him it must have been the jersey and actually asked him, I was like, hey, what's the story? How did you get this jersey? And he said that a friend of his bought it off Etsy. So I don't know like if there's an Etsy, like if you could still find this or if this is like, because Etsy's kind of weird, right? It's all like homemade things. So like, did somebody make this one time and that's it? Did they have a bunch of them? Are we going to be seeing this at all the games? People are going to be like finding where this came from. It's pretty in depth. If you want to see it, he's got some like closer pictures with a patch and everything. That I'm not gonna ruin it for him, but pretty cool story. It's a hilarious jersey. I mean, the name couldn't be better for it, right?
Right. Yeah.
But also, kudos to the people who didn't throw him out of the game.
Yeah.
I guess I would really like Pittsburgh to start throwing it in the river.
That'd be great.
That would be fun. The thing is you got to have it. You got to figure out a way to make it happen and make it become an actual, like traditional or tradition type thing. Is that what you call it? Tradition? I called it a Wrigley Field tradition.
Yeah.
I guess you could call it that.
But if you're just getting it started, trend. We'll start with trend and it'll turn into a tradition.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. That makes sense. So anyway, pretty cool that he actually came across it. And so we shared some pleasantries and whatnot, I guess you could say, some fun words. Let's go ahead and get to the other. There's a couple more questions here, and then maybe we've got a couple other things that we'll bring up. K to the Izzo 88. This kind of plays into what we were just talking about, maybe a little bit about DeYoung too. Bullpen. Are we looking at stability or an incoming implosion? I think this is a big question. I think a lot of people are kind of wondering this. The bullpen has been good. Yeah. It's been effective. It was effective at the beginning of the year last year too. And we all remember that. And we all are wondering if this is going to repeat what happened last year. I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think so either.
I think
the way he's using it this year, it's just been good. I know you got the breakdown on the innings and all that stuff, so I'll let you go here.
Yeah, and just to say, like, you were very critical of the usage last year before things got bad. You said they're overdoing this thing. They've got to be careful. You shouldn't be having, and then Bednar ends up hurt. And, I think you avoided saying I told you so, but you definitely were going down that path. But here's the thing. The two guys out of the bullpen who have not pitched, do we have an as reliever just because I can look at it without seeing the starters here? I think we do right here. So the two guys who have pitched the least amount of games are Chase DeYoung and Will Crowe. And Will Crowe actually has the most innings by any of our pitchers. And Chase DeYoung is tied with Jose Hernandez with the second most. So Will Crowe only has 3 outings, but he's pitched 7 2/3. Chase DeYoung, 3 outings, but 6 1/3. Jose Hernandez, 5 outings, 6 1/3. And then you got Underwood, Holderman, Zastryzny, all with 6 appearances, and Moretta with 7, he's leading the bullpen. But they all have 6 innings, except for Zastryzny, who only has 5 1/3. And then all the way down there in innings pitched is David Bednar, 5 games, 5 innings, 5 save opportunities. He's converted on 4 of them, and then we just talked about the other against the world champs, and they end up winning the game. So he has a win. That's balance, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's clear that Crow and DeYoung are their guys that they want to go multiple innings, so they've pitched them less. Last year, Crow pitched multiple innings and pitched every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, and really, like, Crow's been really good. Like, he gave up the 2 runs on the home opener, but like the game was kind of out of reach, right? So it was kind of like finish your inning, and he did.
Yeah.
And so he's been really effective. Chase DeYoung, not so much. He hasn't made the best of his 3 outings. He probably would have more innings if he would have been more effective.
Yeah.
And Zastryzny probably in the same boat as maybe Underwood and Holderman, as far as they've had the same amount of appearances, but he has 2/3 less of an inning because he had the outing that that we had to get him out of there. Everybody else it's not only been good, but it's been really balanced.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I've been very, very happy with the way he's been using the bullpen this year as opposed to last year. It's been pleasant.
Yeah, and I think there's one thing that I will say too. I mean, you could go through every one of these guys, and I don't just mean like you or me or any, like you could go through and say, hey, when have they been using Moretta? And everybody would know. Oh, he's been the guy to get the starter out of the jam. Okay, when are they using Bednar? Saves, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been pretty clear. Holderman, 8th inning. He's the 8th inning guy.
Yeah.
Like, he pitched today when Bednar didn't because there was no save situation. Moretta actually ended up pitching in the 9th today, which was the first time it's been different than that. But, like, they kind of have their roles. Yeah. And they kind of know what they're being asked to do. I am impressed with the bullpen, with the usage of the bullpen and the way that they're putting them out there in situations that they're going to become familiar with. I honestly, if Stevenson gets back on this team, when he does, I don't know your move, because Moretta and Will Crow are the guys with options.
Yeah.
And they've been very effective. Chase DeYoung is a DFA candidate if they have to send him down. And so I guess I don't know about Zastryzny. He could have an option, but you're not going to move a lefty for him, right? So I think that's out of the question. But I don't want to misspeak. He may actually have that. But yeah, I mean, I have been. I don't think that we're looking for an incoming implosion. And if so, it might only be one guy, because what makes, you know what I mean? And there's trends and stuff like that. So maybe. But I think other than that, it's pretty good. So our last question is one from One True Zach. He says, who's impressed you the most after the first 4 series? I mean, there's a lot of names you could go with here.
Yeah, but I think one stands out, and it's Brian Reynolds. I mean, he's putting a lot of stuff behind him and just going out and playing ball.
Mm-hmm.
The whole contract, everything's going around. There's got to be 100,000 things rolling through his head throughout any given day. And then he says, oh, by the way, I'm just going to leave that in the locker room and go hit you 5 dingers in the first 4 series. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's impressive.
First 3 series is really.
Well, yeah, but still.
But yeah, I get you. I think you could. I mean, you say there's got to be a lot of things rolling around in his head. Sometimes I wonder if he's just not wired that way, if he doesn't have if he's that laser I mean, because I feel like that's what he is, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's not to say anything. Yeah, I mean, but to me, there's a lot of names. Mitch Keller could be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Dowry Moretta could be another one, just because of the expectation that you just kind of didn't know. But I think that even looking at Andrew McCutchen could be really impressive. I mean, we didn't quite know, and some of us kind of downplayed it, like, let's be careful. He's not the same Kutch, and he's not. But dude, 10 walks to 7 strikeouts.
Yeah,
and he's hitting over 300, and he's been really good. Another one is Hwan Bae. I mean, I know it's not like been the consistency that you'd like, but you can't argue he's been impressive in so many different things. That's the problem. Like if you look at the two on paper, you're going to say, oh, Castro's playing better, but nobody's thinking that because of those. So I'm thinking, maybe the word impressed, but the other one to me is Connor Joe. I've been really surprised to see Connor Joe. And so that brings us to close to the end of the show. And we're going to talk about Connor Joe a little bit, but Mitch Keller, again, just to throw one more in there. Mitch Keller has been very impressive. I don't know. Could you even say, we just talked good about the bullpen usage and about last time you were on here, we talked about how Shelton is given Keller are we impressed with Shelton right now? This team is legitimately playing games to win.
Yeah.
And I know if you're listening, you may say, well, that's what you should always be doing. Well, sure, you should. But I think that there's a little bit of a difference there. I definitely feel like there's a little bit of a difference there. So anyway, let's go back to Connor Joe. I guess the last thing I want to say right there real quick. When your team's 8-5 and you expected them to be not 8-5, right?
Right.
There's a lot of things that are going to impress you. Okay. So Connor Joe, we've had a couple conversations with our friend Yark about Connor Joe, and he'll call me a hater. This all started because somebody said something about him having elite speed. Connor Joe's not fast. Let's just get that in the air. He's not fast. He's in the bottom 36% of major leaguers when it comes to sprint speed. He's not fast. That doesn't mean that he's not a bad ball player. It just means he's not fast. We don't need to say things that aren't true. He's got a great arm.
Yeah.
He's been hitting very well. He crushes lefties. He gets on base. He doesn't chase bad pitches. Like, those are his strengths, and that's a good thing. Those are very good things. He's just not fast. That's all. And when I put that up, Yark was like, you're a hater. Which we've had a little bit of back and forth with Yark on Connor Joe before. So I said, like, even Jake's coming around to Connor Joe right now, dude. He really is. It's kind of hard not to.
Right. He's performing. Hey, and a lot of if they're on my team and I'm not a big fan and I don't think they're very good, I hope you prove me wrong.
Right.
Like, I'm rooting for him because he's in the lineup.
Would you say you rooted for Josh Van Meter?
I hope that he did good.
There are some guys, right?
It was a reach, but...
Well, Connor Joe's also easy to root for, even if you don't think he's going to be good, just because he's, you know what I mean? You had the whole cancer thing and the whole deal like that. Like, those guys are easy to root for. Why would you not root for somebody like that? But anyway. So, long story short, Yark and I were going back and forth. He made the joke that we should have a bet. I should have pulled up these tweets. He said we should have a bet with Jake that if Connor Joe has X WAR, whatever it is, right? That he came up with that day, that Jake needs to wear a Connor Joe jersey all of next year. And I said I don't think Jake's going to agree to that. And matter of fact, I think I said it's not going to happen. Like, it's just straight up not going to happen. And so he said, okay, here we go. I got the conversation here. He found a jersey that was really expensive. 0 chance, I told him. And so that's what he's saying. He said, we'll start a GoFundMe. He wanted to buy this other jersey, whatever. So you actually have come up with something here that you think is doable, and you're going to go for it.
Yeah. What do we say? What was it? A 2.5?
He said 2. Yeah, he said 2.5 WAR for the season.
If he ends up with a 2.5 WAR for the season, I will wear a T-shirt because I'm not going to go buy a jersey all off season that
You're gonna have
says
one made.
I'm going to have one made. This is Connor Joe's my favorite baseball player, or Connor Joe's my favorite player, something like that. And I'll wear it the whole off season.
I love it. I love it. Connor Joe's my favorite player. Let's see where he's at right now. I'm going to pull up Fangraphs because we're looking at F4 here. And this is before today's game. He hit a home run today.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it says today. Live stats today. So that's not right. Let's see. His WRC plus right now is 172. Oh no, they're saying it's 199 after today. That's ridiculous. I mean, the man's hitting 391. So WAR doesn't get calculated quite as fast. So before it's a 0.2 so far. So he's got a little bit of ways to go, but obviously he's got a lot of time to get there. Yeah. So if he ends up with a 2.5 or better, Jake will all offseason will have to wear a shirt, and he's gonna have to show it, not like what we're doing right now. Like, you can't see our shirts with these graphics. And he said, I will show it on the YouTube every week. Connor Joe's my favorite player. I'm in for it. I think that's a lot. I think that's a lot of fun. But you can't help it, right? I mean, this has been exciting to even just. It's all around like this team's just playing good baseball.
Yeah.
Choi's starting to heat up a little bit.
Yeah.
The whole deal. All right.
I promise you that, one other thing. I promise you that Choi has training with a sword.
Shout out Pittsburgh Pirate Queen, right?
Yeah.
So I was down there talking to the Queen and Scrivener. I think I said that right. And Jim Stam was down there, and we were all chatting, and I said, listen, my family's already gone. I got to get out of here. And then probably 10 minutes later, they're talking to Keller and Bednar and handing off a sword. So I left a little early, but either way, I know that that's been a thing. And I think Fan Forum, I didn't get a chance to watch their live show today, but it'll come out on Saturday. The video is probably still out there. But I think they cleared the air a little bit. So go watch that if you don't know about the home run sword yet. But go watch that, get the air cleared on who actually provided the sword. I mean, I know I just said it was them, but you'll hear maybe more of the story. I don't know what they did. I don't know if they had her on or anything like that, but I know you'll hear the story. Possible Jim Stam was standing there during the whole thing. So, but either way, go watch Pirates Fan Forum for that. Let's talk about the Cardinals series. So they won the first game already. It's a 4-game set. They won tonight's game with Vince Velasquez on the mound. So great start to the series. That's one of those games that you're like, Jordan Montgomery came in looking really good with a 2.25 ERA coming into the game. We know what our guy Vinny's looked like. And then so we got Oviedo versus Woodford, and Woodford has a 9 ERA. We've got Rowanzi versus Matz, and Matz has an 8.18 ERA. And then we have Keller versus Michaelis, who has a 10.05 ERA. I mean, the ERAs at this time of year don't mean anything. I mean, Rowanzi also has an 8, so
yeah.
It looks good. Yeah. They've got some problems maybe in St. Louis. I mean, I've been here yelling about St. Louis and how they're underrated, and they're proving me wrong. They're not playing good baseball. They've got the drama about O'Neill not hustling.
Yeah.
But they do have that Jordan Rampage. They got Jordan Walker on a rampage is what I have written in my notes. But Jordan Rampage, that's like a super potent lineup. They're 6th in MLB and OPS. We're 19th, but the pitching it's been bad.
Yeah,
starters specifically. Their bullpen's been better, but we might be looking at taking 3 or 4 from the St. Louis Cardinals right now, who are at the bottom of our division. And I still do believe they'll be at the top at the end of the year.
I do too.
It's early, but they're doing, I mean, if we could take 3 out of 4, let's just sweep them. Let's just sweep them. And let's just go win 100 games.
The Cardinal. Easy, buddy.
Easy. Let's calm down.
The Cardinals, though, that's the organization that's the organization you want to beat.
Yeah.
If you're in the NL Central.
Yeah. Well, and they're odds-on favorites to win the division this year too. And dude, I'm telling you, like, at this point, you're going to St. Louis. You take a split. You'd love a split.
Yeah.
We've got 3 good pitching matchups coming up, and we've already won 1. So you win with a split. We'll talk about it Sunday when we get back on here for Monday's show. We'll talk about the Cardinals series and see if we can pull that split off or pull 3 of 4 or get a sweep. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. We had a lot of things to talk about today. We went all over the place. I'm going to forget about some of these things, but one thing I didn't mention, oh my gosh, Brubaker, Tommy John.
Yeah.
We saw it coming. Mike Burrows is probably next. I don't know if they've made an announcement on him yet or not, but it's possible Mike Burrows is heading down the same path. Obviously, the Cruz injury, like you're gonna have to weather the storm. It's good to have you back on the show, man.
You know what they say. White water in the morning. Let's go Bucs.
I spent my entire life dreaming about going to the Pacific Ocean, and I'm going by myself. Who's going with me?
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucs!